Hey there guys, and welcome to a supplementary episode for Let's Speedrun Link's Awakening DX 100%. In the last episode, well, the last episode doesn't really matter, because this episode is going to be going over the major differences between the Red and the Blue Tunic and how that affects the speedrun for LADX 100%. So, pretty much what I'm going to be doing in this video is just going over like the kind of major differences that the Red Tunic brings to the speedrun, because my series was pretty much focused on Blue Tunic because that is what I mainly use. But I figured that there are plenty of people who will want to learn how to use Red Tunic, and I will try to demonstrate and explain the differences as best I can. So pretty much the determining factor as to whether or not you will personally want to use Red Tunic or Blue Tunic will likely be this boss, Dungeon 5 boss. This is pretty much the reason I use Blue Tunic. He is a very random boss, and you subject yourself to more randomness if you choose to use Red Tunic, and additionally, basically I lose more time to this boss than I would save by using Red Tunic, but if you save more time than you lose to this boss, then you should use Red Tunic. So I will put a disclaimer here. I'm not very good at this boss with Red Tunic. I've tried practicing, doesn't really help. Not good at this boss. I will put a link to a timestamp of Zorlax's 100% world record video to show you how this boss is supposed to be done properly. I will try to explain it, but I can only do so much. So, with all that said, this boss is going to start pretty much the same as normal, same as Blue Tunic. You're going to wait for him to pop all of his heads out. Gonna let this pass twice, and pretty much the big difference is that you've got to kind of pick a side. In Blue Tunic strats, you want to hug like a bottom wall near this, like the bottom wall near the center, so you can just cover all four of the holes. With Red Tunic, that doesn't really work, because if he pops out of a hole that's close to you, you will not, it is physically impossible to get all four hits in. So you kind of need to be a minimum distance away, so you have to choose a left side or the right side. So for me, I'm going to be choosing the right side here, which is unfortunate. So as you can see, this is where I said, why I said that you're subjected to a little more randomness, because with Red Tunic, you might just happen to get bad luck, and there's nothing you can really do about it. That said, I'm having particularly bad luck. This isn't exactly representative of what Red Tunic is every time. Okay, there we go. So we got 4 hits in. One thing that Red Tunic does in this fight that you kind of need to focus on is you need to kind of roll from the A to the B button. I'm not sure if I explained this in my original D5 tutorial, but you want to kind of cancel your sword with your hookshot. So just roll from A to B so that the moment the hookshot comes back, you automatically get 1 slash in on the first possible frame, because if you don't do that, it's probably impossible to get all 4 hits in one cycle. So here, let me try and get another... there we go. And so that's pretty much the big reason for me. I'm very inconsistent at 4 slashes. Horribly inconsistent at 4 slashes. The timing is much tighter. It's not necessarily more difficult if you are used to it. But because I'm so used to green and Blue Tunic timing, it's just really hard for me to break my muscle memory and learn the timing for Red Tunic. So that's pretty much the make or break difference between Red and Blue Tunic, is this boss fight. If you can be consistent at this boss fight, then Red Tunic will be faster. If you cannot, like me, Blue Tunic will probably be faster in the long run, and it's a little bit safer. So with that said, we're going to move on to another spot that's a little bit different, which is bootstrats. So for this segment, as you can see, my equips are not optimally set up for for not bootstrats. You want to come into this fight, charge up your sword over here. Oh. And then you kind of ideally just want to stunlock this guy into the corner. That was kind of an awful demonstration. But basically what you want to try and do is time out your spin slash so that you spin slash him as soon as he becomes active. That will put him into the corner. And then what you want to do is just start slashing your sword with him in the corner, jump when he jumps, etc., etc. And that should be good to just kind of stun lock him. And this is a little bit faster than bootstrats by a few seconds, I think. Dang. Bad with the timing again. If you mess that up like this, you can just take a second or two to adjust yourself and just keep slashing. And that's pretty much it. This boss fight is kind of trivial. Bootstrats can be kind of hard to learn. This Red Tunic does make this mini-boss quite a bit easier. So that's another major difference. Another difference to note is rocks. You actually pick up with Blue Tunic, which I have here, you pick up rocks a little bit slower. You pick them up at the same speed as you pick up with Green Tunic. So I just picked this spot because it's got a lot of things to pick up. So as you can see, this is just kind of the normal rock pulling up animation. Whereas with Red Tunic, you're going to be picking them up a lot faster. It's not like incredibly massive, considering you don't pick up that many things from the time you get Blue Tunic / Red Tunic until the end of the game, but it is substantial enough to save several seconds over the course of the run. I would wager a guess somewhere around 5 or so, but that's completely conjecture. I have no, I haven't timed it, but so that's another kind of major-ish difference is that. And for the final demonstration, I have this Wizrobe room, which from what I can tell, all you need to do for this room is you just need to delay your timing on the sword slash. Oh, whoops. So with Blue Tunic in this room, all you do is you just kind of get up in the corner after dropping the bomb here. Drop the bomb, get in this corner, and then you would go to Sword Feather and just hold your sword down. But if you do that with Red Tunic, that's going to happen, which is not a good thing. So you just want to delay your sword slash until a little bit late. I'm not sure if you can actually get through that without taking damage. I'm sure it's possible, but for me, if I were using Red Tunic, I would probably just take the hit as long as I don't have super low health. And yeah, that's mostly it. There are a couple of differences in Dungeon 5. Most of them just come down to the fact that it's like, oh, instead of hitting a Helmasaur twice, you hit him once. Instead of charging a spin slash here, you just slash like left and up at the Stalfos and everything. So I figured it didn't really bear explanation so much. But that's really about it. When I say that tunics come down to personal preference, the reason is, oh yes, and of course, Moldorm takes, I think, 4 hits instead of 8, or something like that, in the final boss fight. So when I say it comes down to personal preference, the reason is because this 10-minute, admittedly long-winded explanation of the tunic differences, that's really about it. There's not really a ton to say. It really does come down to what are you most consistent with. It comes down to the individual runner, because the time differences between the tunics is maybe about 10 to 15 seconds or so. I would say definitely less than like 20 to 30. So if you find the D5 boss is easier for you, then pick Red Tunic. If you find it's harder for you, then pick Blue Tunic. And if you don't care about the time, then pick whatever color you like best, is about all I can say. It really is that simple. So that is going to do it for this final supplementary episode for Let's Speedrun Link's Awakening DX 100%. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you next time.